Welcome back to another episode of Misplaced Garage. Today I'm going to be continue working on the Triumph and getting the diff fixed, getting all the rest of it fixed, and hopefully I won't have it clicking anymore. And I figure I may as well just go through and do everything that you should do after a car's like 50 years old. You know, they start breaking down, especially these British cars. If you guys know what I mean, like they don't last forever. I'm going to start with resealing the differential. I have every single seal that I need. It looks like this side had to been fixed before, so that shouldn't be leaking, but I'm gonna replace it anyways. Definitely that side, and then the pinion seal as well. That's probably gonna be the most treacherous one to do because that needs to be perfect. And then the actual entire seal itself. I did spill some oil earlier, but something tells me that there should be a lot more oil than that in there. I didn't spill even that much earlier, so this might be where my clicking is coming from. Not be balanced anymore. So I rigged up this extra piece of angle iron that I had. It's for mounting something, I don't remember what it's from. But so now when I turn the axle nut, the flange will be held in place so that the axle nut spins, ideally, if it comes off. So I counted the exact turns that the nut was on there, and that was exactly 9 turns. So I wrote it down on some cardboard over here so I don't forget it. Hopefully that doesn't just go away, but 9 is probably not something I'm gonna forget. I believe this flange should be keywayed, so it doesn't matter how it goes back on, but just to ensure that I do, I'm going to take it off and then check, and then if it's not, I'm going to put it exactly back on how I found it, which is going to be at perfectly down, and I'm just gonna slide it off and see what happens. So I always like to clean a surface before I work on it, because I'm not really going to be going inside of this diff other than replacing all the main seal around it. But it looks like this is almost a metal shelled seal, which is not what I got. And for those of you who aren't commenting, I do have a manual. I do have a breakdown list of this whole car. Sometimes I just don't use it because I don't want to. And I'm interested to see, because I have a box of parts here. That's the pinion seal. Yeah, that's the pinion seal. It doesn't look like that's metal on the back. Anyways, I'm gonna see if I can pop that thing out and go from there. Got the seal out just by basically beating it with a punch until it oblonged, and then I could pull it out. And I used a screwdriver and whatnot. Now I'm just gonna clean up the whole inside and throw this new seal in there and be good to go. Yeah, flange back on, the drive shaft flange, we'll seat it all the way in as necessary. And first I will probably put a coat of oil in there so that when you first start it, it doesn't just rip the seal apart. Once you get the mounting face plate back on there, you will want to clean up the flange where it meets the seal. I just used a Scotch-Brite pad that'll clean up the metal almost perfectly. You don't got to go too hard on it. And then once it looks relatively good, put some oil in the seal and maybe some on here, and then slide it on. Got the inner shaft out of one side. It appears to be in okay condition. It's not super great. The seal in there is definitely pretty destroyed, and the bearing feels okay. It's not super great. It probably should be replaced, but I didn't order bearings, so it's just gonna stay in the car since I don't care that much about this differential. I just don't want it to leak. That's just about the smallest ring gear I've ever seen, but I guess it'll do the job. I'm gonna clean all this up with some brake clean and a bunch of rags. The single-handedly greatest household automotive tool ever is these green like Brillo pads. I don't know what the correct terminology is, but they'll remove all gasket material but still leave the metal in good shape, especially if you don't use it too hard. But this pretty much cleans surfaces nearly perfect for a gasket, so pick some of this up if you plan on doing anything like this. Right, got both sides cleaned up. This side's clean, this side's clean. Inside there, well, it's got some oil in it, but it's clean itself. I cleaned all the bearing races. I don't know if that's the correct terminology, but I cleaned those sides. Pretty much everything is as clean as it's gonna get. This, I checked the differential play and it seems to be okay. I mean, it has a little bit of movement. I think that's normal for what I can tell. I mean, when I pulled it out, it wasn't perfect, and this differential is old and Alright, well, it's been probably a week since I've even touched anything on this car because it got extremely cold here and I wasn't interested in being in like -degree temperatures working on this thing because this garage isn't very warm. I can barely even feel the heater. It is roughly like just above freezing in here, so that's cool. But I'm gonna continue working on this thing. I got a huge piece to the puzzle. I got a 2-ton engine lift. I didn't really need a 2-ton because this thing can hold a lot of weight apparently, but it was really cheap and it's literally brand new. I didn't even have to buy it in the store. So that will make pulling the engine out a heck of a lot easier. So yeah, it's coming along. Well, the product that I wanted to use was Seal, but that froze and it is no longer any good. So now I just picked up a can of this rust reformer, and supposedly it instantly converts rust, so we'll see about that. Interested to find out. I wanted the paintable stuff, but that is okay. This should hopefully do just fine. So now I've gone through a second time and wiped it all down with isopropyl alcohol, and that should be enough to where I can put a primer on here now. And this is what the final product looks like underneath. Looks pretty dang good. Much better than how it was looking. That's for dang sure. Well, I guess this isn't the total final product, but this is how it's going to look for a little while. I'm gonna spray some of this undercoating on it at some point, not right now, probably the next few days. If you guys liked the video, please like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for the next video. That one should be coming out. I should get all the parts for this differential, and then I should button up the rest of it in that next video. So see you guys in the next one.